Okay, this is Check Understanding for Module 7, Lesson 1. Our first question is a basketball player made 12 out of 30 shots she attempted. You can find this on the bottom of page 208. What percent of shots did the basketball player make? So, I'm going to get a work paper out here. That's a little big, sorry. So she got 20 out of 30 shots. Or sorry, 12 out of 30 shots. And they're asking for a percent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and divide this. I'm going to do 12 divided by 30. 30 cannot go into 12, so I'm going to add a decimal and annex a 0. 30 goes into 120 4 times because that is 120. So, to turn a decimal into a percent, we move the decimal 2 times to the right, so 1, 2. In this little blank spot, we put a 0, so we get 40% as our answer. So, she made 40% of her shots, which is going to be this one right here. 12 divided by 30 equals 0.4. And if I move my decimal 2 times to the right to make a percent, I get 40%. Okay, let's check the next one out. That is not the right paper. I want it. Okay, so we're going to write the ratio as a percent. This is number 2. So there's 2 different ways that you can turn a ratio into percent. You can either get the bottom number to 100 or you can just divide. In this case, I know I can easily change 20 into 100, so that's what I'm going to do on this one. I don't care which way you do it. You can divide the whole time to move your decimal 2 times to the right, or you can set up these equivalent ratios to find it this way. I know percents are out of 100, so I'm going to make 20 into 100 by multiplying by 5. If I multiply by 5 on bottom, I'm going to multiply by 5 on top. And I'm going to say that 1 times 5 is 5, so I get 5% as my answer. Okay, let's move on to number 3. On this one, I have 45 over 75. I can't really take 75 to multiply to something to be 100, so I'm going to go ahead and divide this one. So I'm going to do 45 divided by 75. 75 can not go into 45, so I'm going to add my decimal and a 0. We are going to say that 75 can go into 450 6 times, because if I do that work over here, I take 75 times 6. 5 times 6 is 30, 42, 43, 44, 45. So it does go in there evenly. Okay, so right now it's a decimal. To change it to a percent, I need to move it 2 times to the right. That represents multiplying by 100 because percents are out of 100. When I do that in this blank, I'm going to put a 0. So our answer is 60%. On to number 4. This one is a little larger here. There's a couple different ways we can solve this one. Well, there's a couple different ways you can solve all of them, but you can choose to divide it, or you can choose to change the bottom into 100, and that's what I'm going to do on this one, because I can make 400 to 100 by dividing by 4. If I divide by 4 on bottom, I'm going to do the same thing on top. I know that 16 divided by 4 is 4, and then we're just going to add that 0 there, so I get 40%. Now, you could always have divided it and you would have got the same answer if you did it correctly. Our next one, we get 12 over 60. I'm going to go ahead and divide that one. 60 goes into 120 twice because 60 times 2 is 120. And I'm going to move my decimal 2 times to the right to make it into a percent. 1, 2. In this blank, I'm going to put a 0 so I get 20%. Number 6, 5 to 250. I'm going to go ahead and divide this one. So I have 5 divided by 250. 250 does not fit into 5, so I'm going to add a decimal and a 0. 250 does not fit into 50, so I'm going to put a 0 above that. So I need to add another 0 here. 250 fits into 500 twice because 2 times 250 is 500. Right now I have it a decimal and it wants me to make it a percent, so I'm going to move my decimal 2 times to the right, which signifies multiplying by 100. And when I do that, I get 2%. And my last one for check understanding, I have 1 over 8. I'm going to be dividing that. So I have 1 divided by 8. Remember the top number, which is the numerator, always goes underneath. I need to add my decimal and a 0. 8 goes into 10 once. 8 times 1 is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. I need to add a 0, drop it down. 8 goes into 20 twice. 8 times 2 is 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. Add another 0, drop it down, and we'll be done on this step. 8 times 5 is 40. And 40 minus 40 is 0. Now, we're not done because it asked us for the percent. Right now, we have a decimal. So I'm going to move it 2 times to the right. 1, 2. And I get 12.5%. And you are done with check understanding.